majority of our homeschooling. Now these particular spaces serve dual functions, and so I've had to get really creative with decor and displays and just homeschool storage solutions as well, because I wanted these spaces to be inviting to our guests when we practice hospitality. I wanted it to be cozy and comfortable for my family, but also to allow for creativity and for inspiration for our learning and our homeschooling. So I'm going to take you step by step through this space here and just give you some ideas and some tips and some things that we've used that have helped us create that experience here in the center of our home. And so on this side of the room, we have our collection of coloring books for the girls. So I picked this up at a thrift shop for about $3, and it's become the perfect holding place for all of those to go into easily and to be put away easily as well. Now here we have our school computer, so they use that for typing. We did Art Hub for Kids, ABC Mouse, whatever else we're working on there. They're also doing some writing projects and design on Canvas, so that is the perfect place for it where I can keep an eye on it at all times. Now over here we have our bookcases, so I will take you shelf by shelf and kind of tell you how we've organized things. But up here we have our Do-A-Dot markers. So those are mainly for my preschooler, soon to be kindergartner. Here we have these little chips that we use for all sorts of games, bingo and that sort of thing. And here's some loose change, which we use for counting money and anything else math related. Here I just have a small collection of our Laura Ingalls Wilder books, and then a few other ones down here. Here are the school supplies. So this goes out on our table every day, and then we put it away at the end of the day. Here I just have some of our letters for our letter board and a few other manipulatives. And then this is where I keep my teacher materials and books that I'll be using throughout the school year, but we're not using it right this second. So I store it here so that I can see it and it's easily accessible, but I don't have it on my cart where I'm using those things every single day. They'll be in the way there. Now down here, I just have a little timer. This used to hold erasers and so forth, so we're gonna have to get this organized again. We have some of our novels here, our biographies. Down here we have a basket, and so this is our Read-Aloud Basket. And so I just put little things that they can play with, things like putty, these little magnet kits back in the day, painting books, the water wow books. I'll link to all of this in the post if y'all want to check these out. But basically I just put this out, and as I'm reading, they can work on things quietly if they choose to, or they can just sit there and listen. Over here I have some of my personal teacher books. So these are some of my favorites. I have a few more on my nightstand and on my bookcase in my bedroom, but these are a few of them. Underneath this is all the arts and crafts books and things that the kids can use when they want to craft or draw or sew. So we have a variety of books here. This one is on sewing, handmade gifts over here, crafts. We also have our Draw Right Now collection here, which is such a great collection. You can draw people, art ideas, gardening, word searches, animal search, origami. So all that's there. We just kind of keep it on hand whenever they say things like I'm bored, they can come grab a project to do. Here, this is a nonfiction basket for little ones. So it just has little books here that they can read on their own during book basket time. They can check some of these out. And there's quite a few back there. So now underneath this, I just have a couple of storage boxes. So one of them just has sticky stuff, my glue gun, pins, tacky glue, all that sort of stuff. And then in this one, I stored my Father's World stuff. This will be used this year for kindergarten, so I'll be pulling these things out, our ant farm and our butterfly garden and all the cards and everything that was with that. we just have our math manipulatives at the bottom. Now to the left of the bookcase, I just have this little magazine holder where I have our magazines. So these are World Kids. We had a subscription to this, so I just placed them in here. We have our pointer. And then these are some older magazines that we can use for projects if we need to cut out any pictures. We have our children's atlas here that doesn't fit on any other bookcase, so I placed it right there. And then we have this other bookcase over here. On this top shelf, we just display anything that the children have worked on that they want to put out for a little while. Before we get rid of anything, we take pictures of it, and the kids like to store them digitally in an app that we have. Now here we have all of our readers organized by level. So at the very top, we have our easiest readers. And then as you move on over, they get progressively more challenging. So this is more like your level 1 books. More level 1, but a little bit more challenging here. Oh my goodness, we love these. I'm going to share these. The Buttercup Grove books. So good. And then over here we have level 2. So we have some of our readers. And then the I Can Read series. We have level 2 and a little bit higher, closer to 3. We have our Usborne readers here as well. These are just beautiful nonfiction books. Card. And then over here, a little bit more challenging. They love Berenstain Bears, so I have a lot of them there. And then here's like level 3 and level 4 books. So we have Imagination Station books here. More I Can Read It books. The Miller books, they love these. And then at the very bottom, we just have some math manipulatives. This one over here, we just had some phonics cards and things like that, but we're not using this year. So I'm gonna change this out and probably put up some of our other readers that I've just recently purchased. Now next to all this is our rocking chair. We have a little display board there for anything we're currently working on. And then here I like to put up our main topics for the week. And I also track our weeks. So usually those will say week 1, week 2, week 3, and so forth. And then once we got to 33, I changed it up to days so we could just count that down. So we finish up tomorrow officially, and then I'll be updating this. I'm gonna back up a little bit here. Next to that rocking chair, we have this coffee table. So this was something I picked up, I think on Craigslist or garage sale or something for about 40 bucks, and then I painted it. So love the way it turned out because I don't have to worry about the top here. The kids use this for games. They create here, my littlest ones. I just have some books that I'm reading right now here so I can sit and enjoy this space too. And then underneath that, I have this basket here with nonfiction encyclopedias and just informational texts. So we have the children's encyclopedias, we have a thesaurus, we have See Inside books here, and just a number of other ones that I found along the way. So those go here next to the sofa so they can sit and enjoy them. And then, oh, let me back up just a little bit. Here we have our book basket. You can see that right there. This houses any books that we're using with My Father's World. So in the curriculum, they have a book list at the back that has books that are based on the science topics and our history topics. So we check those out from the library, or I've purchased some of my own, and we change this out about every month or so. But during Book Basket, they can come in here and read books based on the topics that we are studying. So we were studying Egypt, we had this, we were studying dinosaurs, so we had our dinosaur books in here. We were reading books on gardening, so we have our garden books here as well, and so forth, more dinosaurs. Now on this side, these are some of the novels we read this semester. So I put them here if they wanted to check them out again or read through them all over again. Some of them like to do that from time to time. So I wanted to make them easily accessible. And then we have another basket on this side where I like to put games. So I really, really see a huge benefit with a lot of these games, and just for brain development and reasoning and logic and so forth. So I change this out every few months or so, but this just invites them to come on out and just play a quick game. We'll play Blocus. This one's great for visual, discrimination, all sorts of games here. We pick up sticks. This is a great puzzle game. So anyway, put these here, just trying to replicate the feel of like a bed and breakfast. I always just love those cozy cottages where you go in and they have things that you can do quietly apart from the stimulation of electronics and the fast-paced world. And so I wanted to create that in our home, and that's what this little area is for. So I call this our library, but more than anything, it's just a place for us to come together and read or play games and just enjoy the space. Now on this side, we have our tabletop. So this is our designated empty space. We like to clear this out at the end of every day so that in the morning we can start off with a fresh, clean slate. Here at the bottom, we have recycled paper that they can use, scratch paper, we have stickers, we have scrapbook paper, more stickers, these mats and maps, and then our trays as well. So probably gonna get new trays this year, but they're usually housed there. And then we have our CD player up top here and our little locker system. So the girls each have a locker, and then I do use the top for bowls and plates and things that I can easily grab when I'm putting together a lesson. Now, this is where I've had to get really creative. This is a buffet table, and I use it to house so many of our materials here. So I have this basket up top for manipulatives. We use these for my daughter's reading curriculum, rulers, flashcards, the little games that she has for nurturing connections and reading level A. So we keep these in here for easy access. Here I keep this little printable, but more than anything, it has our schedules. So I just change this out from day to day. We have our rules here, and whatever we need access to, this can be displayed here. We have a large dry erase board over there. In this cabinet, I keep my preschool kinder materials. So at the top is math, and then phonics and alphabetic principle, and then at the very bottom is writing. So I go through all of these pieces in some of my other videos, so you can check them out if you're interested. I have the math one up right now. Now in this top basket, I have craft materials that I don't want the kids to easily access without asking me first. So this is where I store these materials. I have CDs here. And then puzzles and stencils down here. So this is a little stencil kit that I used to use when I was a little girl. And I just keep those there so they can use them as they choose. Now in this other cabinet, we have some tangram puzzles, discovery blocks, robotics kits here. Again, I have a video on all of these here, the widgets, all of these learning tools that are just so great for preschool and kinder and sensory bins and so forth. And then down here we just have a little science box that has like pinchers and magnets and bug boxes for when we go on nature walks and rocks. Everything's in there kind of mixed up, so we got to organize that again. Science puzzle and some science experiment kits down there. And an apron. Now next to this I have another thrift shop find. I think I paid another $3 for this one. Super vintage, but I loved it for our nature guides. So here we have North American birds, all these nature guides. The kids love, love, love to identify the animals, the insects in our area, arachnids, the snakes especially, wildflowers. And then on the other side, just have some more nature books, such as this big one, Handbook of Nature Study, and a few other favorites in there. And then we get to my cart here. So the very top, I have our morning time menus. So I'm gonna do a whole post on these later, but this is what we use for recitation and memory work. So we have hymns, we have math facts, skip counting, patriotic songs, and so forth. Up here, I use these for my teacher manuals. So this is for our history and science. This is for my preschooler. Oh no, it's the other way around. Let me flip it. History and science, preschooler, and then some of the other manuals that I have up here. In the middle cart, this is usually a bit more organized, but this is just craft materials for the kids that they can easily access. They don't have to ask for any of this. I just keep, pipe cleaners and buttons and googly eyes and chalk and those types of things available to them. And then at the very bottom, that's where they're supposed to put things when they clean up. So if they're working on a project and it has to dry, or this goes up here, or they just need to clean up something quickly, like the clay here, then they can place it at the bottom as a holding place until they find a good home for it. So that is this space. You can see when kind of back up. Doesn't look like a homeschool room per se, but it serves the function of both the homeschool space and our dining room, so that when we do have guests, I can wheel out that cart and it looks a bit more formal if we need it to. I'm going to take you here to the other side. Here we have our chalkboard and a bar stool. Then we have another bookcase. So we have a ton of books, and I'm thinking we may need a second one of these here and just put them side by side because we have a lot of books coming into the home very, very soon. But up here, I just keep this little bowl with our chalk and erasers, a little decorative piece. This frame just went up recently because my daughter worked on that little project and she wanted to display it nicely. We have our diffuser where we diffuse our happy place oils or our calming oils or our focus oils. And then here in this bookcase, I have all of our books organized by curriculum or by topic. So in this first queue, we have our Bible books and devotionals. And again, I'm sharing more of this in detail in other videos if you want to check them out. This was all aboard the animal train that my daughter did this past year. So she has her first Virtues books in here and her little Golden Classics. This was actually her binder for that. Here we have our literature collection for my Father's World Kindergarten. So that's here. And then we have our 5 in a Row collection as well, and Beautiful Feet books, teaching character through literature. We have some of those books in here as well. Over here, we have our Sunlight collection. So this was from level A or core A at the time. This does not belong here. And then just this other random book there. That actually goes down here. So down here, we have our poetry books and then any anthology. So like this fairy tale collection book is there, Tall Tales, Kingdom Tales, and so forth. Here I just have some books that I use for teaching, some picture books, grammar books. This was for exploring countries and cultures. So this is what we did last year, and I have a whole review of this on the site if you want to check it out. But these were the books that we used with it, and then some books that I had purchased along the way. Over here we have American history. So we actually used Adventures in U.S. History from My Father's World and Beautiful Feet books. And so we have a very nice collection of just beautiful living books all over the stack here that just really brought the history to life for my children. Then at the very bottom, I have binders for the different curricula. This is where my daughter stores her materials, and these have come in so handy. So I want to get a few more of these to just put here for each child to keep their materials. You can see she has, her cards, she would have her pencils, everything just all in here, easy to take out. Here I have some file folders, and this was more for like preschool file folder games. 5 in a row, seashells and shapes, those types of little games for my little ones who are no longer that little. So this may be going very soon. And then down here, I have curricula that I've purchased that either we're not using right now, but we'll use it in the future, or pretty much that. We'll be using it later, hopefully. If I think we're gonna use it or if I reference it, I'm holding on to it. But if I find that we're just not gonna use it ever, then it goes off the shelf and out of the house so that we don't have clutter here. But that is it. Over here we have our nature jars. So when we go on nature walks, the kids start filling these up with seashells or rocks or twigs or wildflowers, whatever they find along the way. Up here I store their science notebook pages. So one shelf here per child. Here are the drawings on light and rainbows. Let me see if I can pull it over. There it is. And at the end, I'm going to take these and just bind them nicely for them. So they'll have a little science portfolio. And then in this one, they have their artwork. So we're using God and the History of Art. And so as they're working on their writing projects, drawing projects, just holding on to them here. And at the end, I'll bind them or just keep some of the key pieces and toss the rest. But altogether, that's what this little space looks like. And that is our homeschool space.